Okay, good. Okay, so hi everyone. So nice to see so many people interested in this topic. So who am I and why am I talking about this topic? I'm Anna and I live in Gothenburg. That's why I'm not in Stockholm doing a face-to-face event. But yeah, I work as a UX researcher with a cybersecurity company. So it means that sustainability is not part of my day-to-day job. It's more of a passion. So I've been studying and learning about sustainability for the past 10 years and specifically found the UX, sustainable UX 2 years ago or 1.5 year ago. And did some research about it, wrote my master thesis about it. I held different presentations also in a UX course. Yeah, and then I'm just here to share the things I learned during this period that I spent intensively researching and understanding sustainable UX. Oh, wait. So what to expect today? I brought you a mix of presentation and discussion in smaller groups. So I'm going to so it's going to be like presentation, discussion, because I want you guys to be engaged and reflect on the things that I'm going to tell you about. And it's going to be an introduction to sustainable UX. So you will get the big picture and connect some dots. But I also brought some practical advice. So if you really get enthusiastic about the sustainable UX, then you will have some tips and tricks to start with tomorrow. And some of the co-organizers or chapter leaders maybe can share the Miro board link already, because I also collected some resources in the Miro board. So if you want to dive deeper into the topics, you will have the resources there. And coming back to the Miro board, we have the Miro board, and during the discussion, you are very welcome to use the Miro board to put some thoughts down. And at the end of the presentation or our session, I'm going to ask you to put some key takeaways on the Miro board, because I'm super curious about, what did you learn? What did you find interesting? That's also a good signal for me. Like what kind of value did you get out of this presentation? So it's gonna be an interactive session, and I would like you to guys to be engaged and sharing your thoughts and engage in the discussion. So if you're up for that, please send a thumbs up or like some positive reaction in the chat, so I can see that you are up for being active during this thing, the session. I'm not sure if I'm gonna see it. Oh yeah, I can see. Great, thank you. Cool. Okay, moving on, we have a lot to talk about. So let's start with the basics. Sustainability in a nutshell. But sustainability as in what is important for us as digital designers to understand, or what is important for this session. It all starts with our beautiful planet that has limited resources. And we have been using these limited resources quite intensively in the past century. So we have been digging out some raw materials and then turning them into different things that we can consume. So for example, electricity or food or consumer goods. And from one perspective, this is great because our life is super convenient. Everything is available at our fingertips. But on the other hand, we have become rather oblivious about how our increasing consumption of these natural resources impact the planet. And here I would like to highlight two important things that impact us as designers in the digital sphere, era, yeah, not era, the digital world, yeah, let's say. So in general about the digitalization, how digitalization impacts the planet, because that's the bigger context we work in. So first, we shouldn't forget that the digital products that we work on and design, they are stored somewhere. So usually on servers, they are stored, they need to be transmitted and displayed on different devices. And all these infrastructure uses energy, and a lot of energy. So just this section, just the servers, some calculation shows that it can be up to 3% of the global CO2 emission, just like this tiny part of it, which equals to the greenhouse gas emission of the entire airline industry. So that's a lot of CO2 emission. We can agree on that. The other thing I wanted to highlight here is that the digital products that we work with, they are displayed on different devices. And while we are not directly responsible for designing these devices, it's still good for us to understand where they are coming from and where they are going, because they are quite wasteful. So we take a lot of raw material and energy to create these devices, and then we dispose of them very quickly. So in 2022, it's estimated that there will be 5 billion phones thrown away. That's billion. That's a lot of phones. And that's just phones. And yeah, like, let's not think about the laptops and iPods and watches and whatnot that also goes into electronic waste. And unfortunately, we are not great at reusing the material that we have put into these electronic devices either. So in 2020, it was only 17% of the electronic waste that got recycled. So without further depressing you, I just wanted to bring raise the awareness about it, because I think it's easy as UX designers or digital designers, it's easy for us to say like, yeah, my work is on the cloud. I don't really have an impact on the environment, yet we have to, keep in mind that this is happening within our industry or because of our industry. But how does UX come into this picture? So here is a summary. I created this summary based on the research I've done. Yeah, and I'm going to go deeper into each layer in the rest of the presentation. But just to sum it up, we have 3 layers. The first layer is the deep purple one. That is the direct impact of a product on the planet in terms of energy consumption. So when we are working on the design sustainability in design layer, we can ask ourselves, how can I build a digital product that uses as little energy as possible? And then the next layer is the implication layer. So it refers to the energy consumption of it's the real life implication of the design decisions that we make within these digital products. So the question is, are we encouraging sustainable or unsustainable behavior in the real world outside of our digital product? And then finally, we have the context, because our products don't live in a vacuum. So there are many different external factors that influence our design decision making when we are working with on the product. So yeah, in a nutshell, but let's dive into the first layer, which is sustainability in design. And we are going to have our first discussion after this section. And yeah, feel free to ask me or keep the questions until the discussion. Feel free to keep the question. It's more like, yeah, feel free to ask me when we come to the discussion. That's what I was going to say. So yeah, so first layer, sustainability in design, looking at how to reduce the energy consumption of the products that we work with or work on. And how we can think about it is, like the digital products consist of different elements. And like, for example, we have text, we have different colors, we have animation, we have pictures and videos, and all these elements have weight. So you can see here, for example, a font or a font variation can have the weight of 250 kilobytes. So the more different fonts we use, the heavier our product is going to become. And the implication of that is that it's going to use more energy to load and use this product. So when we are thinking about how to reduce the energy consumption of a font, we can think about reducing the variation of the font, or the different kinds of fonts and the variation of the font that we use. Or we can use the system font, because those don't need to be loaded. And it's a similar situation with the colors. So different colors need different amount of energy to be displayed on the screen. And in general, darker colors require less energy, especially black. So dark mode can be a great energy saver. And if you look on the right side of the slide, you can see that I brought two examples. So the first one is a specifically low impact website that uses very little color, and they use outline image instead of like a heavy image. And then the other one is like uses bright color and different fonts. So that's a heavier web page. And I'm going to share the links to these pages with you for the discussion, so you will be able to visit them and compare them. So what other elements are there that can increase the weight of the page? So we have images, and images can be the single largest contributor to page weight. And how can we think about images in terms of, reducing the weight? We should be mindful and selective when we are using images. So we can ask questions like, does this image genuinely add value to the user? Or do I communicate useful or new information with this image? Or can this image be replaced by a smaller image, so it doesn't take that much, or it's not as heavy? And I find it quite funny that this is an article written about sustainable web design, and they put this big image that really doesn't communicate anything, or yeah. So I don't know, it seems like they are not walking the talk, so I'm surprised. And when it comes to videos, we have the same principles, being mindful about when we use videos. For example, auto-playing videos, that we should be careful with auto-playing videos. Let the user decide if they even want to watch the video, and question if the video is the right medium to convey the message that we want. So for example, a user comes to our page to find a specific information, and then we present this 10-minute long video, and they have no idea at what part of the video they are going to find the information. So they have to watch the whole video, which means that it's 9 minutes, 30 seconds of watching the video uselessly, because they just wanted that 30-second snippet at the end, maybe. Yes. What else we can do on sustainability in design level? We can think about our content, and we can do a lot for sustainability with our content. Or rather without our content, because it turned out that Microsoft.com has 15 million pages, and 4 million out of those pages have never been accessed. So it seems very excessive to store and create all this content that nobody gets the value out of. And I'm guessing that this is not only the problem for Microsoft, but other big companies can be in similar situations. So what we can do is do content audits more often, review the content that we have created, and maybe get rid of something, maybe rework some of these unused content into something that might be useful for our users. So what we don't want is for the user just to scroll through the content and like kind of waste time and energy while they are using our platform, looking for the information that would actually bring value to them. And that's why it's also important to think about the copywriting, because clear copy will help reduce this wasted time on the internet and trying to figure out where to find the right information, which is also connected to the information architecture. So organizing the content in a logical manner that will also help the user navigate and find the information that they came to our product to find. Which is also connected to the next section, user journey. So it again comes down to making sure that the user spends as little time on our web page as possible, because again, we are saving, when the user is not using our product, we are saving energy. The keywords here are making frictionless user journeys, straightforward user journeys, making sure that it's easy to navigate and they can easily complete the task why they came for our page. So here is a summary slide, just some of the practical things and things to think about in terms of sustainability in design. And if we want to categorize them, we can say that the first two are more connected to UI and the second two more connected to UX. And we have applying these principles or tips. We have some benefits. For example, for the planet, we can reduce the CO2 emission as we are reducing the energy consumption of our product. We can create better user experience because we are not presenting the user with useless content and making the user go through like pages and pages just to complete their task. And then finally, it also makes a good business case, because happy user is potentially a return user, and sustainability is becoming more and more important for people and also businesses. So it can even become a selling point for us to have sustainable UX. Yes, so now we have arrived to the first discussion point, and I brought some questions for you. So the idea is that these are discussion starters. So I don't expect, you to answer all the questions. It's more like start the discussion, share your thoughts, what was new for you, what have you learned. And in the chat, I'm going to put the links to these web pages. Feel free to visit them and compare them, and maybe think about how sustainability, or like, for example, using these outline pictures instead of normal pictures influence user behavior or user experience. Do you have any questions for me, or should we just go into the discussion rooms?
We have some comments in the chat. Diva posted a question about, does it work for, it's the same for videos on website, but I guess you were explaining that is also something that we need to consider, right? And we have also a comment from Sarah. You can define, for example, for mobile, the video is shown in 480p. This website explains quite a lot. So she shared like earthdefinition.org. It might be interesting to check.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, so I have to look into it.
About the dark mode, because it's like not like for, it's true that dark mode energy saving on OLED, but for like LED and another type of screen, it's not, you have like any other information about like how about the LCD, like what color or what the color would be good.
Yeah, I wish I had all the information. Unfortunately, I don't. But I hope that in the resources I posted on the Miro board there is something, or otherwise I can look something up. But it's not my expertise, unfortunately. So I posted the questions in the chat and also the websites. Should we just open the breakout rooms and then we say 10 minutes or 8 minutes?
Sounds great. I'm creating here the breakout rooms. Will be 5, around 6 participants per room.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it. Great.
What am I doing? Wait, now it's gone. I can join. I don't understand.
Let's see. Yeah, I think everyone went to a breakout room. I will go there as well.
Yeah. How can I do that?
I think you can click in breakout rooms.
Maybe I can do it because I'm sharing my screen. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this screen. Yeah, now I can see the breakout rooms. Okay, cool.
Then let's be back around 6:40.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we call them back or like close all rooms and then they will be joined back?
When we click on close all rooms, they will join like automatically back.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Let me see here. Where there is no
getting more colors. Yeah, as we can see, if you will wear black or white.
We have many user research techniques, user tracking, testing, interviews, whatnot, you know all about them. So on one side, we have the understanding of the user behavior, and on the other side, we have the influencing. So once we understand our users, we have these tools such as nudging, gamification, persuasive technology, dark patterns, and also just like the visual design can have an impact on how users use our product, how they make decisions that will impact their real life, impact. Yes, let me take a look at the notes. So, example, on the understanding side, we understand that people are influenced by what others are doing. We are looking at the other people, trying to fit in with the social norms and align with how other people are behaving. So on the influence side, we have these techniques that we can use to influence the user behavior with the help of, like this conforming to social norms. So for example, we have this example on the bottom. That's one of the most famous nudging example when an electricity company wanted to reduce electricity use per household. So on top of the monthly bill, they printed this comparison chart. So in the middle, there is the household and how they are comparing electricity usage-wise to their neighbors. And this eventually led to some reduction in electricity use. And when it comes to us as UX designers, we can promote unsustainable or sustainable behavior with our products. So what I mean here is, for example, we have this CO2 calculator applications that help users keep track of their CO2 emission and nudge them to reduce this emission over time. On the other hand, however, we have e-commerce companies that nudge users to buy more and more. And you might be familiar with the problem of overconsumption. I'm going to talk a bit more about this later on. But yeah, it's unsustainable behavior. The way we consume today is not sustainable. So nudging users to shop more clothes. Yeah, that's an example of encouraging unsustainable user behavior through our design decision. And then in the middle, we have digital products that doesn't necessarily promote any positive or negative user behavior in terms of sustainability. For example, government sites where you can just where you go to do your taxes or request I don't know, a passport. So you just go through the website. So in this case, we can think more about sustainability in design principles. So like reducing the weight of this page by using the right colors or using less fonts or less pictures. Yeah, so I wanted to talk a bit more about this side of the equation. I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but I'm pointing toward the, yes? Okay, cool. So this side of the equation, because that was the topic of my master thesis. So I'm real passionate about this topic. Sorry if I get carried away. So what we did in our master thesis is we wanted to understand how persuasive design is used in order to encourage overconsumption. And as I mentioned before, overconsumption, especially in the fashion industry, is a huge problem because we are using a lot of resources to create these clothes that are going to be in our closet for like, I don't know, maybe just a few weeks. We are wearing them a few times and then we throw them out and they end up in a landfill. So it's a huge problem. And how does e-commerce contribute to this? So persuasive design. What do I mean by persuasive design? For example, yeah, we have this example of like reducing the perception of risk with the help of visual design. So of course, every company wants the users to be comfortable when they are buying or making a purchase. So highlighting that there is free return, or like, informing the user that there is free return of the product, it's not unusual. But how it's done on fast fashion websites are very not unusual, but like aggressive. So we have an example here. It's from Shein, kind of the worst fast fashion website. I really hope nobody works there. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so Shein is the worst kind of fashion company. And what they do is that because they want to sell as much clothes as possible, so they keep the user they have all these pop-ups and banners and whatnot, like that attracts the attention and keeps the user what is it called, like keeps this on top of mind. So when the user is deciding about, oh, should I buy this product or not, there is always a banner, or there is always like something blinking in the corner that says like, yeah, you have free returns. So yeah, you have the safety of buying this clothes, this piece of item. And on the other hand, we have an example of a more sustainable brand from Asket, and they are openly or like actively encouraging people to consume less and high quality clothes. And their way of communicating that they are doing free returns is this banner on the top. So that is quite a difference. And yeah, that is what I mean with, using the visual tools to encourage users. Or like, yeah, I think I'm getting lost in here. So I hope you understand what I mean. If not, please ask me later. But moving on, we also have a scarcity. Again, from Shein, we know that when there is a limit on a product, so for example, we can also use time limit or stock limit, people are more inclined to buy because we don't want to miss on a good deal. And then finally, we have personalization. Like, it's so nice of the company to personally recommend me these clothes. They know my style, so like, of course, I'm gonna look into buying these clothes, which eventually can lead to buying more clothes than we need. So these are just a few examples. I can give 1,000 more, but I also wanted to recognize that this is a more complex topic, because these persuasive design techniques that are used on fashion e-commerce to encourage people to buy more clothes that they need, they are also becoming standard industry standards in like whatever e-commerce. So for example, recommending products is something that everybody does, and this contributes to overconsumption. But at the same time, if, for example, there is a company, Asket, for example, and they don't want to encourage overconsumption, but at the same time, it's industry standard. So if they don't have this option, the user might say that, okay, they don't do recommendations, so I don't know what kind of products should I buy, or I'm lost here. I don't have a good experience here. So yeah, it's a complex topic, and yeah, I just wanted to recognize that. And then another thing I wanted to mention is that, of course, these principles can be used in order to promote sustainable user behavior. As we saw, for example, with the nudging in the beginning on the electricity bill. Yeah, and that was a short section. but the point is that the decisions that we make in our products will impact how users are going to behave in the real world. And of course, it's not all the products, but some of us are working with these products. So yeah, I was just curious if you have ever thought about, you know, this implication of your work, and where does your current job falls on this scale? And yeah, I thought that we can open up the discussion rooms again and have maybe like again 7 minutes and then come back. And then I have like 10 more minutes and that's it. Okay, I'm going to look at the chat.
Yeah, we have in the chat some comments about the e-commerce. If you know any case of e-commerce trying to compensate the ecological costs of their operation, how they're doing this, if you know some example.
I'm pretty sure there are some. Good question. I don't have an example on top of my mind.
I can give an example because I worked in H&M, and it's not sustainable when they are pushing the sustainability part, because I did a lot of interview with users, and there are a lot of people that are, I don't buy anymore in H&M because it's not sustainable, because I don't like this fast fashion thing. And so they need to change the mindset, otherwise they will lose a lot of people. So they are doing, for example, they are trying to push second-hand clothes into the site. So these kind of initiatives they are looking to, but I think it's still a lot. It's a long way to go still.
For sure. And yeah, in the next section, we are going to talk a bit about, you know, like, and I can see a comment here from Divya. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but that they need profit. And yeah, so as UX designers, we don't really have impact on the business model that the company operates with. So if we are tasked with, okay, now you have to make sure that the user buys as many clothes as possible, what can we do? Not a lot. So yeah, of course, we have limitations that we have to be aware of.
Can you explain more about that? Reducing friction is a good thing to save energy. However, the less friction also means making it easier to engage in unsustainable behavior.
Yes. Yeah, sure. So what I mean here is before in sustainability in design, we talked about, you know, like reducing friction and making sure that the user have like a very straightforward path towards completing whatever action they want to take. So that's great when it comes to reducing the energy consumption of the product. However, for example, e-commerce, coming back to e-commerce, we have this buy now button that seriously just like one click of a button and you already bought the product. So it makes it super, super easy for the user to engage in this overconsumption behavior, which is unsustainable. So, you know, like reducing this friction in one sense, it's great. In the other sense, it's terrible. Does this make sense?
Yeah, now understood. But I think how it can be changed, like when the company will not add on that button buy now, oh please be sustainable, like that.
Yeah, I mean, of course there are some initiatives to, you know, like raise awareness and keep people mindful. But again, it comes down to the company, because probably Shein is not going to employ these practices. I can see a hand up.
I wonder, like, is it because it sounds like because you say that of course the company, like the business part, wants the client or the user to buy as much as possible, as fast as possible, right? But there's also another aspect. It's like to get them what they want, you know, so they don't buy too much too, in a way. There's those kind of thing, right? Like the same as like the principle of showing what is popular might be the trigger for people to buy more, or also actually saving time. Because if this is most popular, maybe you will want that too. So this means that it's come down to a lot of how, like, you know, how our practice, how we frame it. And and for me, if you want to frame it like, you know, being less about consumption but more about get them complete what they really need to do, then that sounds like an all-day UX.
And sorry, what
like the all-day UX that closer to like anthropology than market, because today's UX is getting closer and closer to market. I don't know, maybe Luciana, I think you can coin just to comment something about this, because this is what I feel listening to everyone.
Yeah, go.
No, Anna, you can go.
I have to collect my thoughts. So if you want to go first.
Okay, Nadine, you were asking about UX and marketing coming together, or
because nowadays UX move closer to marketing. Like, you know, before UX was like anthropology, shadowing, ethnographic study, like before at like 20 years ago. So because, you know, because it's also, you know, like because I feel like you, in a way, design solution might look the same, but how you conceptualize it, are you making it to get more people to pay, or are you making it to make people get what they want and don't waste their time, you know?
The way I see it, and I think everything is going to market, you know, like in the end, like companies in general, they want profit, they want to sell things, and but this mentality, I think we need to start changing it some way, somehow, because it's unsustainable for the planet. We cannot keep doing business as usual, because it's we don't have the resources anymore. So, but I totally understand. It's what Anna said, like it's how we can impact the business here, because there are some limitations, and companies business, they are using anthropology, ethnography, and other resources. But in the end, what they want is to sell stuff. They do anthropology to understand how people are consuming, and so on. So I think there are some companies, and Anna probably knows some, that are starting to have a more conscious mentality and say, okay, as she was explaining about some brands, but it's still, I think it's just a small part, you know, like, yeah. It is a hard balance, no?
Yeah, for sure. And coming back to what Nadine said before, you know, like I'm thinking that we really have everything that we can imagine, and we can choose from so many things to consume and make our lives better. So do we really need to even promote what is trendy? Because like we have everything. Like why would I care if the other has like a different t-shirt, different color t-shirt, or like a different shape t-shirt? So yeah, maybe we can move on to the next slide, and we can just say that this is already the discussion part. So if we move on to the next slide, the context, maybe it's going to make a bit more sense. So starting with you designers working on a product, and then first you have the company layer. So of course, the company where you work, they have business goals, they have a vision, mission, whatever. They have stakeholders to satisfy. So it's important to understand that as UX designers, we are going to be limited and impacted by the company borders, or what the company wants to achieve. If we look, oh my God, if we look one layer further, let's call them layers. We have laws and regulations. So I saw it before, someone mentioning accessibility in terms of, digital products. That's the example I also brought. So we have some laws and regulations regarding accessibility. For example, in Sweden, public companies must comply with accessibility. They have audits, and if they don't comply, then they get fines. However, we don't have anything for sustainability. So again, coming back to, like us UX designers, this is an even harder layer to influence, because I would even say that we have to leave our UX designer role and step into a more civic role to influence these laws and regulations. And the third layer I brought here today is the economic system. So as long as we live in the economic system where profit is valued over the health of the planet, health of the people, it's gonna trickle down into our laws and regulations, into the company mentality, and eventually into what is expected of us as UX designers and how we make design decisions. So yeah, what I wanted to say is that I think a lot of this consumption and like how do we design for e-commerce comes down or is impacted by this outer layer. Like, do we even need this much stuff? Do we even need to show what is popular or recommend new products? Stuff like that. And this is a hot take. I said this is something I've been thinking about and passionate about, so I have a strong opinion. So if you disagree with me, please share. I'm super interested to hear your thoughts.
Can I start?
Sure, go for it. Yes.
I agree with you completely that consumption needs to be reduced, and like on a personal level, definitely do the same secondhand, etc. But I work with some e-commerce clients and they don't have the same view as me. So I'm wondering what your perspective is, like how, when working with those clients who don't have those goals, what kind of small things can you do maybe to, because I mean, their goal is to sell as many products as possible. That's like their way of making money. So what, do you have any tips or anything that you can say, like, okay, this is, because at the moment I'm doing UX, I'm not doing strategy, I don't have an impact on the business model. I'm curious about your view on that.
Good question. So as we said before, it's as a UX designer, it's really hard to impact the strategy and the business model part. What I can imagine doing is some guerrilla things. So I don't know, like like maybe trying to sell the idea of like, okay, this is a good design, but not, and so let them wait, I have to restructure my thoughts. So what I'm trying to say is that for example, you want the users to make more conscious decisions, and then you come up with an idea how to do that, and try to sell this idea to the company based on usability or like good user experience, instead of highlighting that, okay, this is a a tool that's going to reduce the consumption or potentially can lead to reducing the consumption.
Mhm.
Is this an answer?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But if you guys have any other ideas, please share, because I'm also interested. I'm curious.
Yeah, I have one example on the circular economy, because this needs to be a circular economy in my opinion. Like, what is the pre-use of that material, how it is your consumers are using, and what is the post-use? Like you said, the mobile phones, like people use it, throwing it away. But instead of throwing it away, there should be some, the pant, right? In the pant, they just say then you get the 1 kroners. So there should be some system that the mobiles are not going into the garbage, right? There should be such a system you can go to the mobile store, get the new one, and just recycled it in a good way. So there is a need to just adapt the circular economy shift in each business model. But I can give example of last, like a shoe company. There is a shoe company in Norway or something. So there's a concept that you wear our shoes, you take it on lease, 3 months you utilize it, and if the sole becomes and everything becomes like not proper, you just come again to us, you just give us those shoes and buy the new one with less price. Like in a small sector, like for a shoe also, they are having the circular economy, not throwing your shoes in the dustbin. Like give us, we will give you the new, right? Just don't. So I think it's possible, like it needs a consumer shift, of course, but it is not impossible to have this circular economy shift in everyday life. I'm also trying to have it in my daily life, simple things. So yeah, for business, there should be a circular economy concept for the UX levels.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. However, coming back to the limitations as UX designers, we don't necessarily have the mandate to make these decisions for the company. So other things I can imagine is like plant a seed. So start to talk about this change and sustainability in general with your colleagues, with the higher ups. Bring it up. And if you're really suffering, if sustainability is something that's dear to your heart, maybe it's worth considering finding a position where you can work with companies who have the same values as you, which is like a luxury. But yeah, that could be also something to consider. Yeah. Yes. Any more comments or questions or something to add? I'm looking at the comments. Yes.
Yeah, I have one question, Anna. Have you had the experience of working with a team and like planting the seed about sustainability? Because I was thinking, you spoke about colors and fonts that can use less energy and so on. But I was thinking, like, if the programmers, if the developers are doing a code that is less heavier, I don't know, like, it's going to also spend less energy, electricity, and so on.
For sure.
So maybe it could be a work for the whole team, because I understand, like, if you work on e-commerce, it's going to be hard to say. You're not going to say like, okay, let's sell less, because nobody's it's going to be like a hard battle here.
Yeah.
But you could like optimize what you are doing, like the team is doing, in order to save some energy in other parts, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. And we also talked about this in our discussion group. Okay, sustainability is nice, but where do we start? How do I start it within my company? I don't have a silver bullet, but I think for now, starting small, starting engaging your colleagues and start a conversation. And I would even add that doing non-sustainability or non-UX related sustainability things within the company can build, a certain value or a certain culture in the company that, okay, now we are separating the trash. Now we are a company who care about sustainability. So we are going to be more open about hearing ideas when it comes to, yeah, like implementing UX, sustainable UX practices. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, if you have any more ideas and comments, please share, because I'm still learning, and that's a very good question. Like, where do we start? It's hard.
Continue from what Luciana said. I feel that, you know, like in terms of the code itself, the optimization of the code, that is a part of the standard job of good developer, you know, because if you optimize your code, then it's run fast, you know, and it take less resource, it takes smaller of everything. But I feel like in terms of, like, you know, the interface between the design and the code, that part maybe there's something, you know, can be done. Because if you talk about how fast the code works, just by the code's sake, the code has to be very fast. Everything is getting slow, and, you know, it takes some time to load, and then the experience is gone. But yeah, I think it's very interesting to think about, like, you know, between the design and the code, you know, like storybook, for example.
Yeah.
Because maybe is storybooks actually sustainable or not? I'm not really sure, right? Because it's another layer between, like, coding, and then the server have to go and fetch, and then come back here, and then go there. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking my mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, please. I'm really happy. But yeah, also I don't have an answer. I think sustainability in general is a very complex topic, and it's always, you know, like, we are doing something good in this part, and then something breaks on the other part. So it's not black and white. So yeah, I don't think there are one right answer for this. Okay. Yeah, can we share
some comments in the chat? You want to talk about that? Some comments in the chat?
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments. But okay, so if we haven't addressed a comment, please let me know. But I think we have talked about most of them. Or
I think Divya has an interesting question here. Using sticky notes for brainstorming, it's more sustainable, or it's better to use Miro FigJam for that? Which one's more sustainable? Good question.
More sustainable. Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
I was just curious. I know it's a very funny question, but, you know, like, sustainability starts from zero, from your own thing. So I was just looking forward.
Yeah. I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Depends if you take.
It depends.
Lina just, yeah.
Maybe
Lina
something
said,
like,
yes.
you know, but maybe something like a Figma, you know, online in the browser versus Figma as a native on your computer. Maybe that is comparable. You know, because it's the same thing. Like, because yeah, you have it here, you have it there. How much the energy it used? Maybe that can be done.
Maybe. But yeah, so I'm really happy that you guys pitched in and shared your thoughts. Can we go to the Miro and just, like, put down 1 or 2 key takeaways? So, you know, just like, what did you learn, or what's something that you're going to take away with you from today? And I'm also gonna look at it. No, we have more resources. Or these are the resources that I also posted, or no?
I think we added some more.
Okay, cool.
Because people were, they were sharing in the chat.
So there are some of you who have already been looking into sustainable UX before, or what? Yes,
I
no?
think so.
I think so. Yes, just yesterday I had a big discussion within my 15 people team, UX team, about sustainable UX or sustainability in UX. And
How did that go?
It was a little difficult because sustainability in UX is very differently seen by the team, and the sustainable UX is very different. Like, what is a strategy you apply for a longer run, which you can reoccurs for the sustainable UX, but like how to implement sustainability goals, achieving in UX differently. So a big brainstorming session, and I mentioned about this workshop. Lots of people, and they are looking forward my insight from this.
Okay, did you get any new insights?
Yes, some of them. I already took a screenshot. I'm gonna present in within the team.
Cool.
Thank you.
So nice.
Yeah, I kind of like talk. It's like, it's more like a fika talk with the colleagues about like energy consumption, and that's why I know about the the OLED and LCD are not the same with but just more like yeah, a fika talk. So nothing in depth, but yeah, we try to initiate more discussion with them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to go. Start small and then engage people. I can see so great comments. Aww. Yeah. So I put here some of the resources that I found useful, and then there were some more added here, but there is so much out there on the internet that you can learn and use. So yeah, I encourage you to go out and just like type in energy efficient website or something if you're interested. Because yeah, as I mentioned, I'm not a font or a color person, so there needs to be some more research, or like, yeah, you have to do some more research about that. Very nice. Yeah, and going back to this, I just wanted to share the last slide that we have just scratched the surface. There is so much we didn't talk about today. So if you are interested in these topics, I would love to connect and keep the discussion going, or just like connect for future questions or discussions. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And then did I see a hand up? No. Yeah.
I have a question. Can I ask something before? Yeah. So I assume that when you would say questioning human-centered design is because you want to talk more about planet-centered design.
Yeah.
When I ask this, I want to know if you have any sort of like websites to go and learn more about this topic that some of us might never have heard before.
Human-centered design or planet-centered design?
Planet-centered design.
Yes, I have, which I didn't put in the resources, but I'm gonna do that after we finish the meeting. I have it's more like an article or articles, but yeah, I have some stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Have your thesis published? Can we have a link?
The thesis? Yeah, I think it's published. I'm gonna look it up, and for sure it's like 40 pages. or like 50 pages. So if you want to read, for sure, go ahead. But yeah, the gist you already know. But yeah, if I find it, I'm going to post it in the Miro board.
Last question I would ask, what is the most difficult thing you found in your thesis? Like, what is the most number one problem, the most to not having the sustainability in UX right now?
I think the first thing is that there is no awareness about it. It's when I talk to UXers, you know, like we rarely think about ourselves, about our jobs, the energy consumption, the impact that we have in the real world, or you know, like for example, that like e-commerce consumption is unsustainable. So like if we as UX designers are not aware of these different aspects of sustainability that we impact, how would anyone else be? And I think it's kind of our responsibility also to raise awareness and bring it to the team if we want to do something about it. So yeah, I think that's the number one. Awareness is the number one.
That's a great. I think that would be the magic wand for our women's to upgrade in UX career and go beyond the men.
Yeah, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the session. And if there are no more questions, then I think we have finished.